Hello everyone. Red Shiksha Sanstha's online learning program welcomes you all. Today we are going to study the next chapter 3.2 of English 10th Standard Kumar Bharti textbook. The name of the lesson is The Night I Met Einstein. The Night I Met Einstein is a beautiful story that offers a lesson in life and music from the most brilliant mind in the world. Many of us do not know Albert Einstein to be a creative mind and a music lover. This story really captures the persona of Einstein, who was an amateur violinist, and shows us how to help and address the problems facing classical music. It is interesting that someone like Einstein shows a man the beauty of music. The narrator did not understand music and said he was stone deaf. He was getting bored at the concert. Einstein, who did not even know this young man, pulled him to a separate room and taught him to learn to love music. The narrator has penned down his experience about how he learned to appreciate music. Jerome Weidman, his lifespan is from 1913 to 1998, was an American playwright and novelist. In 1960, he won the Pulitzer Prize for his work, a musical drama titled Philolo. He collaborated with George Abbott, Jerry Bozick, and Sheldon Harnick for its music and lyrics. His book, I Can Get It For You Wholesale, has also been used for a movie of the same name. Now let us see about the lesson. The lesson starts by a dinner in a home of a distinguished New York philanthropist. After the dinner, the hostess led these peoples to an enormous drawing room for an evening of chamber music. So they want to listen to the concert of very famous pianist. I sat down, and when the music started, I fixed my face in an expression of intelligent appreciation, closed my ears from the inside. After a while, I heard a gentle voice on my right. You are fond of Bach? I was sitting next to Albert Einstein. This was a man to whom you did not tell a lie. However small, I don't know anything about Bach. I said awkwardly. I have never heard any of his music. Now, when he was listening music and making boring faces, the next person who was sitting to him was Albert Einstein, and he asked him that might be he fond of Bach, a famous musician. The narrator explained that he didn't know anything about Bach. Again he said, please, he said abruptly, you will come with me. He led me upstairs on the floor above. He opened the door into a book-lined study, drew me in, and shut the door. Tell me, please, he said, is there any kind of music that you do like? Well, I answered, I like songs that have words and the kind of music where I can follow the tune. Now Einstein asked him. He first took him to a room where a gramophone was kept, and then he asked him which kind of music do he like to listen. The narrator said that any kind of music that having the words and he can repeat the tune. He went to a corner of the room, opened a phonograph and put a record on, and in a moment the study was filled with the relaxed lighting stains of Bing Crosby's When the Blue of Night Meets the Gold of the Day. Now here he started. the gramophone and put a record on that gramophone. The room was filled with the relaxed lifting strains or sound, the song of Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby was also a very famous musician. So that music was filled in the study room. Now, he said, will you tell me please what you have just heard? The simplest answer seemed to be to sing the lines. I did just that. You see, he cried with delight when I finished. You do have an ear. The narrator was thinking that he was tone deaf. Tone deaf means he didn't like or didn't understand the classical music. But Einstein wanted to tell him that he was not tone deaf. Actually, he is a good listener. He just wants make his knowledge polished, and that's why he told him to sing that song again. When he sung that song, he said, you see, you have sung it very well. Einstein picked up the Bing Crosby record. This simple, charming little song is like simple addition or subtraction. You have mastered it. Now we go to something more complicated. According to Einstein, there was a comparison. He made the comparison between the two things. When we begin learning mathematics, we have to learn addition and subtraction in order to do multiplication and division. In music also, you cannot try to listen or play any advanced piece of music, any hard piece of music. We have to go from level to level until we can appreciate music without words. According to him, we have to start with the small pieces of song which we can sing, and after that our ears will be familiar with the sound, then we can listen any difficult music also. He found another record and set it going. The golden voice of John McCormack singing The Trumpeter filled the room. Einstein stopped the record. He said, you will sing that back to me, please. I did, with a good deal of self-consequence, but with, for me, a surprising degree of accuracy. Now here, he is going step by step for difficult music. Now he started John McCormack on that gramophone, and he told the narrator to please sing that song back to him. He had done the same. Now the narrator got surprised because he can sing the song very accurately. Einstein stared at me with a look on his face that I had seen only once before in my life. On the face of my father, as he listened to me deliver the valedictory address at my high school graduation ceremony. Excellent, Einstein remarked when I finished. Wonderful. Now this. One by one, Einstein was turning the difficult pieces of music in front of him and told him to repeat after that. These turned out to be a carousel in what was to me a completely unrecognizable fragment from Calvaria Rusticana, a one-act opera. Nevertheless, I managed to reproduce an approximation of the sounds the famous tenor had made. Einstein beamed this approval. Caruso was followed by at least a dozen others. That means Einstein was playing different music on the gramophone in front of him, and the narrator was listening it and getting surprised that he can understand the music and can sing difficult song also. He is understanding the music now by listening. We came at last to a recording of music without words, which I was instructed to reproduce by humming. When I reached for a high note, Einstein's mouth opened and his head went back as if to help me attain what seemed unattainable. Evidently, I came close enough for he suddenly turned off the phonograph. Now they have practiced for some more time, and now Einstein took him to the sounds which don't have any words. That music was just reproduced by the narrator by humming, by making the sound. Now, when he reached to its high tone, Einstein's mouth opened and he said that he thought that he can listen the music very well now. So he suddenly turned off the phonograph and took him to the concert room. Now, young man, he said, putting his arm through mine, we are ready to pack. As we returned to our seats in the drawing room, the players were turning up for a new selection. Einstein smiled and gave me a reassuring pat on the knee. Just allow yourself to listen, he whispered. That is all. Now he took me back to the concert room and allowed me to sit on our places. Then the person who was playing the music, he was turning up a new selection. Einstein smiled and gave him a reassuring pat on the knee and told him, just you have to allow yourself to listen. When the concert was finished, I added my genuine applause to that of the others. That means when the concert was over, at that time, genuinely, the narrator understood the music and he felt very happy that he can give the appropriate justice to the musician. I am so sorry, Dr. Einstein, that you missed so much of the performance, our hostess said. I am sorry too, he said. My young friend here and I, however, were engaged in the greatest activity of which man is capable. And Einstein uttered 10 words that for at least one person who is in his endless debt are his epigraph, opening up yet another fragment of the frontier of beauty. He said at the end that we were also busy. Our hostess come to us and said that Einstein, who is loving the music, have lost lots of the part of the performance. But Einstein also said that they were busy in making something new thing. Now, what that new thing? The last line tells us that Einstein was very happy to make the writer understand the classical music. He felt that he had just opened up the frontiers which would lead the writer to understand the beauty of the music. That means, according to Einstein, the narrator was important person in his life. To him, he has paid complete attention to understand new thing, to understand something new. This Einstein teaches us that we should be humble and be helpful to others. Thank you for watching.